Welcome to the good, the bad, and the sequel with your hosts, Doug and Jamie.
I'm back to let you know I can really shake them down.
This is the movie podcast where we're talking sequels and we do it in two parts. The first, an interview with an actor, someone involved who made the film worth watching. And the second, a discussion of the sequel, what they got right, what they got wrong, and how it could have been better. Really hope you enjoyed last week's interview with actor Stuart Fracken. Man, Stuart provided some amazing behind-the-scenes stories from this week's sequel, Teen Wolf 2. But he also talked about Golden Girls, meeting Dean Cameron. They came from outer space. And he worked with our buddy on Beans Baxter, Jerry Wasserman. But before I sink my teeth into this week's sequel, I got to introduce you to my co-host, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Doug. And, I feel like a teen again watching this because that's the last time I saw this movie was when I was a teenager.
Yeah, I don't remember this movie as much as I thought I did, which is kind of weird because a lot of times when I see a movie once, it's like grained into my memory, but my memory forgot this one.
No, and I remember this movie, but I remember liking it a lot more when I was younger than I do now.
Whew.
Yeah. This I got to tell you. I mean, I'm gonna dive right into it.
Please.
This is one of the top 5 I think worst movies that we've done so far.
Oh, okay.
So
I agree with that. But when we get to the end, when we talk about things that could have been done, there is like something here. There definitely is something. A lot of things would have to change. And then like when I talked to Stuart, some of the things he mentioned.
You mean like besides like a new script?
Well,
I mean, the only reason I say that is because this is basically Teen Wolf. Like it is. No, Teen Wolf 1.
I know that it's Teen Wolf 1. We'll get into it right now.
Yeah.
It's Teen Wolf 1, but they get to it quicker, if that makes sense.
They do, but I mean, they have the same characters, the same storyline. The characters that aren't even from the first movie look like the same people from the first movie. like the quiet girl looks like Boof.
Nikki was Boof. Yeah, I know.
Right, 100%. So like you have that, but it's also a mix of Rocky 3, 4, and 3. I think 3 and 4. It's a mix of 3 and 4.
Well, I wrote that down. I said I always thought our first boxing sequel would be a Rocky movie, but this movie, man. Damn.
The last 15 minutes is Rocky 3 and 4 combined.
Yes, it is.
Actually, there's a little Rocky 2 in there too, I think.
Yeah, sort of. So I love like the intros. I'm obsessed with them. So the Atlantic logo in the beginning, and I wrote this in the notes. And then while I'm getting ready to release the interview for Stuart, he even said they went out of business a few years after this. The Atlantic company. And I never knew this, but Jason Bateman's dad was a producer on this movie.
I saw that. Well, I mean, that's how his son got the job, probably.
Is that child abuse?
Why would it be? Well, I mean, listen, you know what? He's a pretty big actor today. So, I mean, I guess if you're going to start off in a business, you might as well start off as crappy as you can because it's the only way to go up.
Yeah, and other people have chosen bad movies and just like fell into that pit.
Yeah,
and no, he did not let that.
And what was funny with the credits, and I've never seen this in a movie. You see it on TV shows all the time. They had they had a cast of characters, and then they had introducing.
Yeah,
isn't that the same as having a what? Like, I don't understand that logic.
I guess for some of those people, I know Estee Chandler, I think her name is. She's the one who played Nikki.
Right.
She was only in like TV movies and like series. I think back in the day when people were just TV actors, because back in the day, that was the thing. If you're a TV actor, you weren't in movies and vice versa.
Right.
And now obviously that's different. But back then, when you were in your first big movie, they wanted to like announce it to the world,
But have you seen that before in like movies, like introducing after
Patrick Dempsey in Meatballs 3? That was an introducing right in the beginning. They were like, "Hey, this guy's somebody now." So we're going to make sure you mention like we had them first.
I got you. Okay.
Which is kind of weird. But so
weird.
the quick credits, man, they get right to the friggin' thing. And what in the hell is happening with the beginning? Why that school song? I hated it. And it went on forever. Yeah. Oh, Hamilton.
Well, in the beginning, I thought they were going to say, "Oh, Canada." It had like the "Oh, Canada," like
it's the same song.
It was
American.
And, had like
get another song.
Yeah, and what I don't understand. So this is not a community college. This is like an Ivy League school, right? I mean, that's what it looks like. Okay, but everybody from the same high school goes there. I mean, Bubby, what's his name?
Chubbs.
Chubbs.
Blobby?
Well, okay. Oh, Chubbs is much better.
Man, that'd be a mean nickname I've never thought of for like a heavyset kid named Bob.
Blob.
That's horrible. No, one thing I wanted to mention, and I never knew the logic behind it. I think we talked about this before. So whenever you see big movies and like, say like Mel Gibson's in a rando movie and it says like with and, Stewart got the and at the time he was in a lot of TV shows. So maybe like, because it was, I think with, Gomez Adams. So I can't think of his name.
Yep.
And then he was the and. So that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. But just, I don't know. The movie reminded me of like a TV movie. It's like it doesn't seem like again, I know it's in a theater. I think it was like a $3 million budget. It grossed like $7 million.
Oh, you looked it up? Yeah, I was shocked.
Yeah, so it did well. Again, when you follow on the coattails of a successful movie like the first Teen Wolf, it's and it was like 2 years after, so like they didn't wait too long, which was good. But this movie tries way too hard. And it comes across like a B movie, like a TV movie, because you have the same characters with different actors. That happens in TV shows. It doesn't happen in movies.
Yeah,
too often. And it happens twice. It happens with Styles.
Yeah,
and the coach.
Well, Styles, again, not just because we talked to him. We were going to talk to him. He did a great job. The coach, there's no way to replicate the coach from the first movie.
But he does a good job, because when I saw him in the first scene, for a second, I thought he was the coach from the first movie, but then I realized, all right, he doesn't look the same. So like, I didn't look at the names. So I'm like, all right, maybe it's just a coincidence. But then he played the same role. Like he played the same, like didn't care about what he does. But so you have Blob or
no, it's Chubbs.
Okay, Chubbs. So you have Chubbs, Styles, and the coach, all from the same school, high school, right?
Yeah,
going to the same college.
And I'll take it up another notch. I know you're not you're not a coach, right?
No.
Okay. So if you're a basketball coach in high school, do you go from being a basketball coach to a boxing coach?
Well, if you're a chub who played basketball in high school to go to a boxing school, I guess anything can happen,
That's true.
Or if you're going to give out scholarships to people that have never done the sport. And let's be frank, did they have boxing as a sport back in the 80s? Because I don't know any schools that had boxing.
I don't know, maybe the prestigious ones, because if you notice in the movie, I know there's a
military, military.
Yeah, but they only fight academy.
Yeah. Well, I know my brother went to West Point and they did intramural boxing.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, but it's still, of all sports you can think of, like even wrestling they could have done. Like that would have worked.
I know. I was trying to think of every sport, because basketball, even though it's a team sport, it can be individually taken over.
Correct.
Baseball would be boring because he would have to have other guys on base, and he couldn't like win.
Well, he could do the Bugs Bunny and just pitch and play every position if possible. He is a wolf.
But even boxing's stupid, because it's even wrestling would be stupid, because it's a team sport. They could be getting their asses kicked. He pins a guy. Would they lose? Like they don't get shut out.
Well, in one boxing match, he boxed everybody. Well, the rules, and I don't think there's any rules in the boxing in collegiate boxing. I guess
I don't think so.
So we'll get to the boxing matches, but this is interesting. This is
the first thing they show. I didn't go to fancy college, but do they really have a building called Dean of Man? Because that's John Aston's building. when they show like a lion on like a perch. It looks like that old like Cornell-ish, Harvard-ish.
Yeah.
As a dean of man. And man, dude, that whole thing. And here's what I wrote down. That guy, the coach, he looked like if Martin Short and Paul Simon had a kid.
I said the same. I didn't say Paul Simon. I said that is Martin Short lookalike. When he was sitting in that chair, it looked like Martin Short. 100%.
And just again, these movies that aren't good. They do the exposition. They tell us the whole friggin' movie in the first 5 minutes. Like we knew everything. And the worst thing was he had a sports scholarship, and the coach and John Astin knew that is for boxing. Okay. But when he talks to the coach a little bit, I'll jump ahead a little bit just to continue that. He goes, what do I do? Like try out for something. If I don't do good, you just take it away. And then he goes, no, Thursday boxing ring. So they gave this kid a scholarship and he had no idea and he accepted it, not knowing what sport.
Yeah. Well, I wrote that down. So he got a sports scholarship. I never heard of a sports scholarship. So that mean you could do any sport you want? They just give out a sports scholarship? Like that's like, it's so bizarre. I feel like the dean and the coach, I don't know how they got their jobs. The dean is not a good dean. And again, for a prestigious, look like a very rich school, very fancy. I mean, Jason Bateman's wearing a suit day one of going to college. Okay. But the coach looked like he had no clue how to do anything. Even at the climax of the movie when he's boxing, he goes, Coach, is there anything I should do?
Yeah, he just gave like a little. No, but I think you're so right with that. Like, how do they get their jobs? We'll go the Miss Money Management by John Astin, which I forget his last name. He's the dean. But yeah, that whole thing with the whole, the trying out, that everything was riding on this kid that they've never seen box before. And they treated boxing like they were filling up 100,000 seat football stadium because people were at the last fight and the montage fight.
Right.
But before that,
no one was
only
there.
Like the friends and students there.
Well, and the boxers themselves weren't good. So, so what are they banking on? Again, like you mentioned it before. So, when it's a team sport, it's a different story. You bring in a pitcher, he's going to change things. You're bringing a boxer just for one weight class.
Yeah.
The rest of the team was horrible. So how is that going to help a team anyway? What? So there was a lot of questions.
Wait, so you weren't impressed by the Academy's Maverick?
Listen, first of all, I keep going back to Blob, but Chubbs. Okay. He also looked like he had no clue how to box. But when he fought the first fight, he does the Bugs Bunny punch or the Popeye punch. Yeah. He doesn't look and he's put his fist out there and the guy runs into it. Like
it's like WWF. He's like throwing him against the ropes, slamming him on the ground. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I get it.
Who are the referees? Then maybe we should be blaming them. They should be regulating this better.
Well,
so I love that.
If that guy could be a coach, I'm sure anybody could be a referee.
It's true.
And it looked like they only fight one school. It was the same school.
I know. The one montage, it was a different like shorts, but it was only one other color. So there was like three teams triple, doing like three-way matches every day.
Well, that montage, they all fell to the ground the same exact way.
It was like in Live Free and Die. No, not Live Free and Die Hard. A Good Day to Die Hard, when all the guys walked right where John McClane was shooting the machine gun, and they were just falling down.
Yep.
So it was cool. You mentioned the people that returned, obviously Chubbs. But I love that Uncle Howard was back. He's like a big time actor too, man.
He is. Well, they only brought him back so they could see his ridiculous wolf costume again. But so I have a lot of questions about that. So you're going to college, your freshman year, your first year, you're straight out of high school. Your uncle brings you. Where are your parents? That's first of all.
True. I don't know where his parents are.
Then when he needs advice, he calls his uncle. His parents are, when you have that whole, there was a serious moment in this movie that lasted a little too long. He asks his uncle for advice. And then at the end of the movie, when he's fighting the big guy, his parents are still not there. His uncle is there.
Yeah. Why didn't they throw in like exposition, like something happened to him? But then they'd be like, who raised him? But that's true. Like,
was his parents dead?
Wait, so he turned into the wolf, the uncle, and I missed it? Oh, and driving.
Really?
No. I was trying to think if it was at another part, but yeah.
No, within the first 5 minutes, he had his show. There was no reason for him to do it, just to show his stupid face again.
Hey, whoever did the makeup, we got to say, it looked exactly the same. It was probably the same one.
You know what? To me, that was the funniest part of the first movie, when he opens the door because he's embarrassed to show his father, and his father just standing there nonchalant,
yes.
With the gray, face. So I think, again, he was only in the movie just to show that again, because everybody knows. And he was just all nonchalant about it, like he's waving to girls, and now he can turn whenever he wants to. He doesn't have to be a full moon or anything. He just to do it, just to have fun.
Yeah,
even after he dropped him off, you see the hand go out. He turned back again.
He's cruising for chicks. But that's what's weird about this. In the first movie, obviously, and then in this movie, when they turn, people are like, "Oh, wow, man, this guy's a dog," and they're mean. And then they're so cool with it, except like one or two people.
Yeah, well, the girl screamed. I think not because she was scared, but like she was like, like it was weirded out. Yeah. But no one else seemed like, when he turned the first time at the dance, which we got to talk about that stupid dance. But when he turns at the dance for the first time, no one seemed surprised. I mean, the stupid Dean thought it was a mask.
Yeah, he said, "Yeah, that whole thing that you were dressed like a dog."
Now, let me ask you, you're somewhere out, a bunch of friends, and someone turns into a werewolf. You don't think you're going to be a little bit more than, you're going to be like, you're going to scream.
Yeah. No one screamed. They were pretty calm.
You're going to run out of there.
And Chubbs and the band kept playing.
Yeah. Well, they don't forget, they've seen this already. So, Styles is waiting for this to happen. He knew it was going to happen. And Chubbs, didn't flinch. He knew. He's been there.
It happened really quick. One part was, so do you remember when they were parking? Remember when they're getting ready to go to school? We see Maverick and we see the two girls, which the one is like a mixture of like Ellen Page and Kristen Bell. Like and then the other one, for some reason, is a ringside girl at the end of the movie, which we'll talk about. That made no sense.
I was going to say, I didn't know if they had that in college either, but yeah.
I don't think they did. But when they're fighting over the spot and then the uncle just like looks at him.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'll just park somewhere else. He's like really nice about it. And
maybe he's a horned dog.
Ooh, he could be a horned dog.
See? So Maverick goes to the same school?
No, he goes to a cat. That's what I don't get. It must be across the street.
Like, that's what I mean. Like, it would just, but they were taking, like, and the girls, like, where did the girls go to school? They go to school there?
They went there because we'll get into it at the dance. I don't want to ruin the line.
Like, I wasn't sure if they were going to the same school because they were parking in the same spot that he wanted at the same school. So, like, it was confusing.
Jamie, I don't know if the people that wrote this movie knew what school was what.
That is true.
They just had placeholders because it was like academy. They probably wanted to put something in front of it, like forgot. But I loved, like, obviously, Styles. The first time you see him, he's sitting there, sunning himself in the room. And dude, I think Jerry Levine in the first one did something really special. And one thing I love that they carried over was the funny shirts, the Drunken State University, and there's a bunch of other ones. Like I used to have the what are you looking at, Dick Nose? I used to wear that out.
Well, I think, I think what he did was he made Styles his own, so, they gave him the character, listen, he did a great job in the first movie. And I know you and I discussed it before. I think he was more crafty in the first one, but he was more late. He was almost like a Van Wilder, in the first one, in this one, he was such an energetic, like just goofball, like, and I think that's like, he just made it his own. He's like, listen, I'm not going to copy, you're going to give me the same character, but I'm not going to copy his way. Let me do it my way kind of thing. And it worked. I mean, I think he did a good job of what he had. I mean, he played it just a goofball, Yeah.
And he was telling me like a lot of the they filmed other scenes that they took out of like the three of them like hanging out when he was the wolf. And even said the first script is totally different than this one, but there's a part we'll get to that it's when music's playing over like this montage and he seems like he's doing something really funny and like animated, but you don't hear it because the music's playing over it. So there's probably so many other parts, but one line I loved is when Uncle Howard, which I'm sure this is what's crazy. So how long were they in school? Because most of the time you're not in your dorms. Like you're not permanently in your dorms. There's freshman dorms and then you move. They had these guys in somewhere. They came in and it was like Jason May was the only new person.
Time in this movie, there's a big like. I feel like everything happens like very quickly.
In like 2 days, the whole movie is 2 days.
Everything, because even at the end when he does boxing training and studying for a full exam all in the same night. But yes, so and when you move, I mean, I moved into college. I had like suitcases and stuff. Uncle's carrying cardboard boxes. And he didn't bring a lot of stuff, Jason Bateman, but when he asked Styles, where's my stuff? He opens a closet. It looked like a whole room fell out of his closet.
But I love how excited that was, like really cool, because that shows how great of an actor the actor that played Uncle Howard was. His reaction to seeing Styles, and there's like a moment at the end of the movie with them too, which is pretty cool. He's like, Styles, and he's like, Mr. H, how's the Prince of Paint? And it was just like this really cool, like, because this is, I don't know what the first scene they filmed with each other, but they instantly had like this real connection. And I love that he took it and he freaking just tossed it. And then that's the uncle right away, because he knows who Styles was. He was cashing in on his son's wolfdom with the shirts and the hats and everything. So he kind of has to know that something like this could happen, that he's going to take advantage. But he says that. He's like, you better watch out for Styles.
Yeah, no, it's again, that's but I don't remember the first movie, but does he have the same kind of attitude towards Styles in the first movie? Like, does he talk to Styles and like?
Yeah, I think one time he goes to the house, but I don't know if they interact as much, but they have like kind of like a thing in the beginning at the end. But so we talked about Chubbs, he boxer, tuba player. How did we not mention about him? Well, it's right now, but fencing. Why the hell is he in a fencing season and boxing season has to I would think it crossed paths.
I'm not sure if he's a fencer or he was just on drugs. Because I think he was just running around, just college. And again, I think you said something before that I didn't even think about, that everybody seemed like they were all settled in.
They were. Everyone was settled in.
Right, except for Jason Bateman.
Yeah.
And because I mean, I went to college, I'm in a fraternity, and the things that were going on, like running in the hallways with a fencing outfit, that easily can happen, and just guys being drunk and running around. So I think that's between him and Styles. They definitely, probably smoke a lot of weed.
But not the first day. The first day, obviously, people can get drunk in the freshman dorm, but they're moving in. There's parents around, but they've been there for a while.
The only thing I can think of is they're probably older than him.
That's what I'm saying. So that made no sense.
Well, no. Sometimes in college, the upperclassmen will go earlier, before the new freshmen. So they're already settled in. Because I mean, Styles looked like he's been living there. He never left
for years. He looks like he was living there for years, and he sends home. He goes, Mr. H, here's for the ride. And he gives him an old McMuffin. Oh, that was great, dude. That was so good. Oh my God, dude. So how is this too? Like, would they let somebody else pick their classes for their friend? Because that's what pissed me off. That's the one thing that pissed me off the most. So obviously,
wait. That's the one thing that pissed you off?
The fact that not that, but the fact that Jason Bateman used his wolf eyes, the flaring eyes, to friggin' switch into a class.
Well, I don't think he did. I don't think he realized he did that. Because
he realized, just like Michael J. Fox when he goes, "Can I have a keg of beer?"
Did he sound like Satan in the first movie?
Yeah, he had a weird
he did.
voice.
They sounded very similar.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. So I don't think Jason Bateman meant to do that. I think it just came out, and maybe he, when that comes out, like your mind is like it doesn't realize it, because he doesn't seem shocked that it happened. He seems shocked when he sees his fingernails growing. Oh, so you know what I'm saying. So I don't think he used it in his advantage. I just think it just came out.
Let me throw this at you and see if it sticks. So obviously Styles wants to have him be the wolf, and he probably heard about him maybe from. I can't think of Michael J. Fox's name from the first movie. Why can't it? It's like slipped my mind. See the movie a million times. But anyway, do you think he's like, oh yeah, my cousin Todd, he gets really like aggravated if you mess with him. So since he wants him to, because one of the lines he says is, I see, right after he's all pissed, he's like, I have to change my classes. He goes, I see werewolf in him, and we will rule this school. Do you think he did this, the class thing, to piss him off, to get him angry? Because that's where it comes from. It's like angry and horny. That's where it comes.
No, I don't think. I think you're giving Styles way too much credit. I mean, that's a thought. Very,
dude. He has within a day.
I know.
Within hours, every T-shirt that says Teen Wolf 2.
His Dorsey, it says Teen Wolf 2, right on there. Like, no, I think. I just think he sees. They try to make them similar, like Jason Bateman and I was going to call him Marty. But Michael J. Fox, similar personalities. I think Michael J. Fox has a lot more charisma, personality than Jason Bateman. But I just think, the two nerdy kind of, guys. And I think he just, I think you're giving Styles way too much thought to do something like that.
Do you think mid-90s they go into they're at some big hoity-toity party, they bump into each other? Do you think they talk Teen Wolf,
Are you talking about Michael J. Fox
and Jason Bateman? They bump into each other. He's like, what if Michael J. Fox gets drunk and he's like, I'm a better wolf, man.
Well, I mean, I think Jason Bateman might be embarrassed. I mean,
I think he is about it. He gets really nervous when people mention it.
He has to. I mean, this is definitely I don't know what his career was. He on TV?
Yeah, he was already on Hogan's Family.
Okay,
yeah.
So he had
Silver Spoons. He was on Silver Spoons.
Well, this is his first movie.
This was, I think, his first. Oh no, first movie was Necessary Roughness.
He was in that?
Yeah, he plays the really nerdy kid. He plays the same person.
Oh yeah.
The same person.
Yeah, you're right. I love that movie, by the way.
Yeah, great movie.
Right.
So Nikki, did she remind you of anyone? Actress-wise?
Which one was Nikki?
Guest? Nikki was the girl with the brown hair, the love interest of Todd.
Oh, Buffy. I was Boof or whatever.
Well, she looked like her, but she had the same face as Diane.
She looked like Nancy. Oh, no. You think so?
Yeah, she had the same kind of, I don't know, there was this one angle I was like, because that look was in the 80s because of Diane.
Well, it's funny you say that because the teacher is from Better Off Dead.
Oh, yeah, that's the mom.
That's the mom from Better Off Dead.
Oh, my God. She's a big-time actress, too.
Yeah. I didn't realize it at first. I knew I recognized her, and I'm thinking, where is she from? And then it popped in my head, and she plays sort of the same, soft-spoken, she was the mom, yeah. But yeah, I guess I could see it a little bit. I mean, but I like Diane Franklin. I mean,
yeah, Diane Franklin will be a guest in the next few months around Halloween, which would be awesome. But yeah, so how about the whole thing with Professor Brooks, Kim Darby? Her and Todd have this really weird. Well, we'll get into it. This is a pretty honestly. Let's be real. We're not going to say it, but shocking, right?
Shocking, yes, and also
no inkling.
No. If you didn't know, yes, definitely shocking. But no explanation.
No explanation.
No explanation. Now, and she has something. There's something different about her.
Yes.
Which that I don't understand either. I mean, unless it's females, but we'll get to that.
We'll go over that. But no, when they locked eyes, and then she it was like a sort of like Let's Bone, but it wasn't.
You were looking at it that way.
No, because they had this weird. It was looking.
There was, but she knew what he's possibly going to go through, and I think it was more like a mother. First of all, again, his mother's not in the picture.
That is true.
So it was more like a motherly figure.
Maybe that was his mom. She gave him up for adoption,
and he didn't. You know what? That would make sense.
There had to be something else. I would love to read the original script because there was definitely some other wrinkle with that.
And you know what? The girlfriend, or later on the girlfriend, she reminded me of the girl from Meatballs 3, where she was so into, super nice to Patrick Dempsey, and he ignored her. Everybody crapped on Jason Bateman except for her, and he treated her like a crap.
You're right. It is that girl that was the friend.
Yeah.
That he didn't want to do anything with, and then
he's such a nerdy kid. You got this girl who's cute, talking to you, giving you attention, and he craps on her, and he yells at her. He throws a fit in the library on it.
Over a book.
We'll
get into that because But so he's able to switch the class, which he's happy about. And
now this is all the same day again, right? So he just moved in.
I'm telling you, there's no cut for days or anything. So that happens in the same day, and then we see the coach, which.
Wait, but before you even see the coach, but he goes to the classroom, right? or just before the classroom, and sees the girl in the classroom.
Yeah, no, that's what we're talking about right now. The professor was there, and the girl was already in the classroom by herself.
Again, this is the first day.
I know. That made no sense. She was just like waiting there. Then they kind of, and I love one of his lines, another like diehard thing, but we made fun of when we saw it in the movie theater was the I'm on vacation. How many times does he say, I just want to be a veterinarian?
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? It took me till the end of the movie to realize veterinarian, and he's a wolf.
Wow. Okay. Wow. I didn't, you know what?
Me till the end of the movie.
I didn't even think about it until just now. So thank you.
Yes. So no, when we see the coach for the first time again, like with Todd, and he goes, "Yeah, we're gonna be doing. You're gonna be doing boxing." He had like this really weird accent, but he was reading. Why was he reading? Again, I know it's not what it's titled, but just an adult male reading a magazine called Boy's Life.
Yeah, you know, there's definitely like, again, between him and the dean with the students, there's something weird. Like,
yeah,
you know,
it's almost like they are wanting to like. I don't know.
There's a lot of threatening. There's like a lot of misbehavior.
Yes.
You know,
bad adults again. There's a lot of bad adults.
All these movies have bad adults.
1980s bad adults, farts.
And there is a fart in this movie.
There is a fart.
There's an 80s fart. No need for it, but they had to throw it in there.
Yeah, you kind of alluded to it before, but was the when Jason Bateman's fighting her over the book, and she calls him a jock, which he's not a jock. So the best part was, I wrote down in that scene when they're in the library, I don't know if you looked at the extras, they were all like models.
Yeah.
Every single extra was like the most good looking. There was no like normal person, but I did love the librarian lady because she's in this movie. She's in it a lot, but she shushes them and then he runs out. And then the book was, he goes, "You can take it. My specialty is crustacean reproduction."
Maybe he's going to be a fish doctor.
Oh my. Yeah. Fish.
But I mean, so she called him a jock and that got him really mad. Now, you're a nerdy kid. Wouldn't you feel like that? Is that insulting? Like, I would say if you're a jock and someone calls you a nerd, you're going to get insulted.
Yeah.
So if you're a nerd and someone calls you a jock, is it the same?
I think this goes back to our quandary from Super Babies, Baby Jeans too. A nerd and a dork.
Yeah.
Or, just most recently, Puppet and Marionette.
Well, I mean, so does it have the same effect though? Like, do nerds get offended? How dare you call me a jock?
I would think if there's any nerds watching, listening, let us know at Sequels Only on social media. Let us know if you'd be offended if I called you a jock. But no, that just for him to say the crustacean reproduction, that's like something like a 12-year-old would say. It's like, "Oh, Timmy, what do you want to do for a living?" "I want to watch crustaceans have sex."
Well, what? You also he doesn't know how to ask the girl out either. So
that was bad too. He's like, "Do you want to be my lab partner?"
Yeah, and you're in college. So I mean, so the fact that you said he's like a 12-year-old saying that, he has no parents.
Yeah,
he lives out of boxes.
Possibly professor.
So I mean, I'm not surprised that he's still living in his childhood years.
Yeah, but one thing I do like in this movie, I did like those two girls, and they were pretty much the only two other girls that really did anything in this movie. And so this was the line that's mind blowing. So he finds out that I coached Todd's cousin. Oh, Scott was it? So he goes, "I coached Todd's cousin Scott, and he was a werewolf. He was a great basketball player." He had this really quick talking when he was talking to the dean, and then he's like, so then the dean takes that like, "Holy shit, dude, this kid's gonna be the best ever." Like, this coach wants to save his job because he said if we, you lose, you're gonna get fired. So then when he's at the thing, at the dance, which I don't know, was that an alumni?
Well, it was an alumni dinner with
in the middle of the day.
With ballroom dancing, with a bunch of old people dancing, except for Jason Bateman.
So Dean John Aston goes, "Dance with Todd," and the blonde girl starts dancing with Todd, and the other girl's like, "I don't want to." And he says, "Don't complain, you're next."
Yeah, he was basically pimping them out.
Oh, he was.
I mean, that's part of the dean. Like there's a creepiness to the dean and the coach. He totally pimped them out. And so, again, this is an alumni dinner. Why was Scott? Where's Scott? Now I'm calling him Scott.
Todd.
Todd, was he invited? Like what?
Well, I think because he's their big scholarship. He's like the sports scholarship. But all the money went to him.
But there wasn't one athlete there. They were all old people.
He's the only athlete that gets a scholarship. They were like, we only have 20 grand to give out. They're like, let's just give it to Todd. Oh, what sports he play? I don't know. We're just going to pick.
You know what? That's what it is. They combined all the sports and they gave him a sports scholarship.
But dude, so he's creepily dancing like he never danced with a girl before. Then he looks once at her boobs and he's starting to change. And I kind of like the whole, like him looking at his fingernail.
You know what? I didn't put that together. I was like, why is he grabbing her ass? Yeah. And, so I realized it all happened after he looked at her boobs.
Yeah.
And that's so, yeah. And again, maybe that's where the horn dog comes in, because they do call him dog throughout the rest of the movie now.
Oh, I know.
Too. But yeah, you said, he acted like he's never danced with a girl before, but they were ballroom dancing. I mean, so, I give him a little slack there, but yeah, he quickly went for the ass.
He did quickly go for the ass. And it was just mind blowing. Just the fact of, I didn't expect, because again, I think we're only at like minute 15, minute 20. The fact that he changed that quick was kind of shocking. I thought it was going to be like with Scott,
yep,
a little hand change, because that's what happened. Remember?
Yep.
And then he would wash his hands in the water and it went away. But in this one, it full fledged. He jumps and runs. And Chubbs keeps playing.
Which had a bigger budget? Because I'm thinking this might have had a lower budget.
Oh, so they not at all. The other one, if you ever read about it, they shot it in 2 weeks. I think it's, I don't know, I think $500,000.
Really?
Michael J. Fox was a nobody then.
Well, the only reason I say that is because they made it look like they didn't have much of a budget, because they didn't show any transformation. They show a little, like, again, his nails. Like, at least in the first one, Michael J. Fox, you see him growing into the werewolf. Here, he turns his face into the tuba, looks in the mirror, and turns around. He's back. So it's almost like they were like saving money on the budget.
Or they were just lucky and they got somebody that was just starting that was really good. But no, you're right. But if you ever see anything with that movie, there's a lot of errors. You could see like the camera.
Oh, really?
Camera in any mirror. You could see like the tracks for the camera and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Wow.
They did it in 2 weeks, and they just had to like pump it out as quick as possible.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know how long this movie, but this movie definitely had a bigger budget. So they could have done something, but his forehead did pulsate
a little bit,
which was, I didn't get that, but what did he look like to you? Like, obviously he was a werewolf.
He looked, well, first of all, I think he looked more evil in this one than he did in the first one.
And he acted more evil.
Yeah. So but his face though looked more terrifying. Like in the first one, Michael J. Fox in the first one, he had like a silly kind of look to him. Here he had he almost looked like Michael Jackson. Like a
sort of. Like
he looked like Michael Jackson when he was going through a lot after he went through all those surgeries, and because there's a point when he's driving the car, I don't know if you noticed his nose. It looked like the makeup was falling off. Did you notice he had he had a line across it right there? You can even in the picture behind you, he has his nose looked like it was like a fake nose. Like it looked, I don't know. It was just, I don't know. It was bad.
It was probably falling apart.
Michael Jackson's nose, fell off.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So maybe what do you think?
I was going to say that he looked like Chaka from Land of the Lost, because it was like really super pale. Like you said the best. Like when you remember Scott, he was like really cool, but Jason Bateman wasn't really. I don't know. He was like kind of a dick. And again, Styles was there. He's the waiter. He was like, I don't know. He was maybe orchestrating this, pulling the string somehow, because right away he's like, be the wolf, Todd, be the wolf. And then Todd runs out. And then
even Chubbs, I mean, he knew, he went through the same exact thing with Michael J. Fox, the same being left out and all that. So why was he surprised it happened again?
Yeah. And word spreads pretty quick at this college. I don't know if they had a meeting place where they put a board and they were like, hey, that new kid Todd turned into a dog, because it was again, days don't change. We never see people go to sleep in this movie.
Right.
seen Knight like a few times, but the next scene is him in class, and there's two Asian nerds that put fleas under his foot.
Where do you get it? Where do you get a container of fleas?
I don't know.
Like, I mean, I saw that. I'm like, all right, where do you get that? Like, I mean, like, I don't even think they someone a pet store. Like, there's no need to have that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't. It's not like you're feeding them to another, like a bug or something. Like, so, like, where? Like, I don't know.
I think you go to the pet store and you're like, I need some fleas, and some guy's like, come here, come close. You need fleas? How many fleas you need? Shh, 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 shh.
He pulls out his raincoat in the back, and he's got like different kinds of fleas, and or maybe he goes to like the Gremlins guy. He would have. I could see that guy having a container of fleas.
Yes, I could see that too. But yeah, so everything, like, word spread. I think they already had a dog bowl outside the door. They had like a no dogs allowed sign there. So it was like right away. And Styles was there to console him and let him know, like, hey man, everything's gonna be all right. Which it's not. Again, it's the first day. All this happened in one day. So he went to school. He really didn't change. He picked his classes, went to the teacher to get him in that class, goes to this dinner, and it's still the same day.
Well, let me ask you this. So, obviously the Michael J. Fox movie happened before this movie came out. So you think that people would have read about it, so like knowing that, like, and the success that he brought to the high school and how great he did. So like I feel like the students at the school had no clue what to expect. Like they didn't know he was going to change. They just know that she called him a dog. Like, so like I feel like they like never heard of another Teen Wolf before.
Which they should have, because I'm sure Styles, who is a ladies' man,
easily.
I'm sure he was like, oh, who's coming here next semester?
Right.
Todd Howard. But no, it's like how would they not know? And it's probably not that far. His Uncle Howard drove a really old van.
Well, he drove his work van.
Yeah.
In the pages. So, I mean, well, wasn't there a van in the first movie too? That's where he goes.
Same van. That's the one they were surfing on. Yeah.
Okay.
So the next scene is like what you were talking about, like John Aston when he meets with him at practice for the first time. And it's like, if you think that's some kind of joke, dressing up like a dog and jumping around. But
he threatens to blacklist him.
Yeah.
I mean, so this dean of the school, he threatens to blacklist them. He's pimping out these girls. And then later, we're not getting there yet, but he talks about murder.
Oh, I know.
I mean, like, how does this guy get his job? Yeah. Or how does he keep his job? Because I'm sure this is not the first time he's acting like this.
I know. So then, what day is this? We don't know. Maybe it's day 2 because he has a presentation in class. Day 2? I don't know. And she goes, Todd, I'm excited for your presentation. And then he opens it up and there's like dog cards, like almost like holiday cards, birthday cards. And one says like doggone, have a doggone day.
How'd they get that?
I don't know.
That's his presentation. So they
Styles put it in. He's trying to get him out again.
You know what? Now it's starting to starting to click. that you know what? That's the only way. Styles has to be part of it. So he's the one behind everything. And he's getting him, you know what? I think you're right.
I know. And then right after this, so that Nikki invites Todd again, doesn't know him. We'll get into their relationship, how I think it escalates really quick. But she asked Todd to go to a picnic, and he's like, why are you being nice to me? And kisses him. And she's like, and I wrote, she wants to fuck a dog boy because she knows what he is. Wouldn't that be weird, honestly? If there was a girl when you were in college, it's like, hey, so-and-so turns into an octopus. It's like, she'd be really hot, but she might turn into an octopus.
Well, but it's a story to tell. It's like, if you have a chance to bang Betty White, would you?
I might kill her.
I don't know. I don't think anything can kill her. I mean, she's going pretty strong. So, but let me ask you this. So if you're having sex with a wolf man, is it always doggy style?
That was a howl. So then, again, I don't think there was practices. I wrote there was only one practice that we saw. So the first boxing match is against the Academy guys. So again, we talked about Chubbs already, the way he went.
No, there was one practice. There was only one practice.
That's what I mean. There was only one that we saw. There might have been something else, but there's no time thing. They should have done the calendar thing and like.
Well, trust me, no, they didn't need any more montages.
No, not a montage. But even if the coach said, hey, in 2 weeks, you got our first match. So at least we know, like, hey, 2 weeks passed. Something.
Right. Could we just talk real quick before we go further? So the practice, he obviously can't take a punch. I mean, he gets demolished. Yet somehow he can handle the biggest guy around at the end of the movie and take a lot of punches. You know, just saying. You know,
I think Uncle Howard's tips in a.
That is true. That is true. I think it's like that you're able to use your inner wolf.
Which he
kind of does. He kind of does.
Yeah, which is kind of weird. I'm surprised that happened. But so then we talked about Chubbs, the way he won.
So Chubbs, the coach sends him out of weight. So he fights a guy like 70 pounds less than him.
I know.
No one questions it. And,
well, the coach kind of doesn't care because remember he looks at him.
Well, no, the other coach did question it, and he goes, "What he said? He's like,
he just made a face.
The same reaction he has for everything."
Yeah, that's his reaction. Was that his audition? Mr. Paul Sands, your role of the coach. He's like,
and this Chubbs, he picks the guy up, he tackles him. He's like the ref doesn't do anything. Nothing.
And we'll talk about the end when it gets to the end. But he does something that is, I don't know, kind of like illegal. What he does to the guy in the ring, it's
kind of illegal.
Well, no, not that it's kind of illegal. I mean, like, it's kind of wrong after he hurts the guy, and he just like, we'll get into that.
Well, I want to go back to his punch though. I love that punch. He kind of gets beat up a little bit, and then all he does is stick his right arm out and just hold it there.
Yeah.
And he had like a smirk on his face, like he.
So then the guy that. So Todd's fighting. The guy he's going to fight says, let's get it over with. I got a date in a half an hour. And then Styles comes up to him. Don't worry, there's a great hospital on campus. Because maybe he doesn't trust for him to turn to the wolf, but maybe he's like, he's going to turn to the wolf because I put those doggone cards into his thing.
How big is that campus, by the way? That you have to ride a bike around to get through campus. A couple of people have that, and they have a hospital on campus.
Well, I think that was a joke.
I don't think so.
But so Todd, dude, whatever. Again, really quick, he gets knocked down and then comes back. He's full wolf. Everybody like looks at him like, and then it's normalcy within seconds.
Now, let me ask you this. So, and obviously he's born with skill. You know, just like in basketball, he was born with basketball skill. In boxing, he's born with boxing skills. Wouldn't you think that's like a disadvantage for another team? So like, how do they allow that? Like, like, I mean, like it's
on weight and muscle, right? He gets stronger as a wolf.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. And your senses. I mean, so, but he was obviously a great boxer, right? So why does he need to train anymore? Because they show a montage of him training with Styles later on, like boxing, like he doesn't have to do that. He's already awesome.
Yeah, no, he doesn't have to do it at all. And I love like the reactions from Styles. There's a lot of slow-mo, like when he comes up, they show Styles like, yeah. And Maverick's like taking his aviators, just like looking at him like, oh man. But then right after this, Todd starts growling. And then the blonde, I don't know, she barely spoke. All I remember her saying is, don't touch me. And you're a dog. And it sounded like normal. Why?
Right. Now she has a southern accent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote, why is she talking like a southern?
And it's a deep southern accent. That's like a strong southern accent.
She was like, I'm going to try something for the rest of the picture. What? Yeah. But this next scene rivals our first movie. It's better. It's definitely better than Son of the Mask. The singing scene when he turns into the mask for the first time. But dude, do you love me?
I hated this scene. I hated the scene so much. First of all, he comes out singing, right?
Yeah.
and then he starts dancing. The singing's still going on, but he's not singing anymore.
I know.
He's like, he wasn't moving his mouth anymore. Now he's doing a dance, and somehow the whole school knows the dance routine that he's coming out of dancing with. But the song's still going on, and then he goes back to singing. But the singing never stopped, and the singing was such a karaoke kind of like singing. Like it wasn't like I almost thought they would have done like the original singer to it. They obviously didn't. I hated the scene. It went on way too long.
It did. And I wrote that. I was like, it's funny that everyone in the 80s was a professional dancer. But I love that they grabbed like a tablecloth and a bunch of people held it out and he jumped on it and then they flew him up to the balcony. And it's the first time we see Nikki. She's like, oh, hey, Todd. Again, she's in love. I think in my mind, it's in like 2 days. And he's like, whatever, I got this blonde piece now. I don't care. So then you asked me before we started, so who are these people? So if I know you don't want to watch that scene again, but you might have to watch. I'll send you the clip that I recorded.
He looks like Val Kilmer.
He actually looks like the guy from Kids in the Hall. One of the actors. So in the scene, it's all these people professionally dancing, and they show these two nerds, and they're just like, and the camera's on them for like a second too long, and it's just like that whole scene is just so ridiculous.
You know what? I think what it is, again, it was major filler for this movie because there is no plot. You know, it's the same plot as the first movie. So, you know, and they kind of move this movie along much faster than they did in the first movie.
Oh, too fast. We're already at the part that he's right now. It's like he's right here, like on the pole, like he's already at, and he turns into a dick in like 20 minutes.
So how much more can he possibly do? So they needed a good 10 minutes of nonsense to fill the movie, and I think that's what the singing part was, because it was like a music video. It was like, it really was. I mean, like, it was the full song of him singing, dance. It was just so stupid. I hated it.
I would pay for him to one day, like, be like, you know what? I'm going to dress like it one more time and do that scene. He would be like the coolest guy for doing that. Like, fuck it. I did something silly 33 years ago. Why not? Now,
let me ask you this. So obviously all the girls thought, now he's like hot stuff now, and they all wanted him. Okay. If a girl at your school turned into a hairy wolf girl, you're going to find that hot?
Isn't that what French women are? Boom.
Yikes.
No, I know. No, I wouldn't.
So we just lost France as our viewers. Thanks.
No, but what I'm saying is,
listen, if you told me like you're going to turn into Jessica Rabbit, I'm all for that. You know, but a hairy wolf woman, no. You know, especially now that we know what wolf women turn into because we saw parts of one. That's weird. Like I don't think guys would think that's hot.
Yeah, I know. And the teeth? That's like braces times 10. But so the next day, Styles again already has does he have his own manufacturing facility on College right behind the hospital? Because he has all the merch the next day. He's riding around on a bike, like almost at like the parades, like when you're a kid and you go to the parades and they have all like the blow up toys. He had every shirt, hat, everything.
I think, you know, again, going with your theory. So he, you know, it's like when they go to the World Series, both teams have the shirts already made up.
Yeah.
So he had this, he knew obviously. So he knew his cousin's coming into school, so it's only a matter of time before he turns, and he's all set. That I can see him thinking ahead. You know, I can't see him thinking ahead like, you know, too much, but something like that, I could totally see him planning. So
here is the worst. I know you already said you hated the last scene, but I think this is the worst part of the movie. The fact that he's cool now, right? He's a cool guy. Why else is he wearing a hat that Ducky would wear? He's wearing like a little black hat.
Ducky wears it. Corey Feldman wore it. So it was the, you know, like, yeah.
But he's supposed to be the coolest. And he thinks, hey, let me show everybody how dominant I am as the wolf, right? Let me catch a Frisbee with my teeth.
Yeah, that was so stupid because he got offended by being called a dog. So you're going to act like a dog?
So he gives into it. Yeah, I know.
And like so, and obviously, I think one of these scenes coming up, Styles goes back to his room, and he's got two girls there, right? You got the two girls in his room. Is that bestiality?
I was thinking that. I was saying like that's got to be like I don't get it. So he must have boned them, right?
Of course he did.
Studying.
Right. It has to be bestiality, right? I mean, is it considered bestiality?
Yeah, I think I think a cop could arrest them. But when that girl came to that, I was like, wow, because we see her later in the movie. I'm like, that's when I thought we were gonna get our 80s boobs, but
well, okay. So this movie is PG-13.
no.
Why?
Why is it PG-13?
Yeah. Why?
Bestiality.
Honestly, that's the only reason, because there's plenty of PG movies from the 80s that show boobs and way worse. This to me was so tame, outside of the bestiality, it was so tame. I don't know why it was PG-13. I was shocked when I saw that.
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
Right? It really is super tame. I mean,
I really thought when she came to the door, when the door was locked and he opened it up and the chain was up and he was like, Todd, and the girl came to the door, I was like, I thought that's where we're going to see it.
Okay. See, so now this movie can't even do that right. You know, every movie in 80s follows the rule of having 80s boobs, and this movie in the 80s can't even follow that right.
That's how bad it is. Scientific formula. This movie would have made 14 million versus 7 million.
Listen, I already had the fart in there, so you throw boobs in there, we got a home run.
So then so everybody loves him. He won one match. That's like a basketball player. That's like if Scott only had one. Well, I guess they kind of did that too. They flipped their shit at that high school.
It's the same story, the same script.
It is, sure.
It really is.
They just changed it, find, replace in the script, everything.
It's insane, really. I mean, it's like Sleepaway Camp. It's the same script.
Yeah. So the next scene is the next boxing match is the one when Todd knocks the guy out. And again, he's already the dick. Scott not passing the ball in basketball. Todd fighting everyone. Chubbs is getting ready to get up.
Yep.
And the coach is like, huh.
Well, I don't. That was a good impression, by the way. But I don't blame Todd for that yet, because that was all the coach. He was ready to get out, and the coach said to stay in. Right, and if you're playing a sport and coach says stay in there, whatever, you're gonna listen to the coach. So I don't blame him for that. But again, Chubbs or Slob or Blob, he should realize that. Again, he went through the same exact thing when Michael J. Fox took every single shot.
Yeah.
So
then I love that. Again, the parts that I do it's just like the guy that played on the Dragons, the same looking guy, like the same kind of thing. Yep. But I love that he's just in the crowd. So the college is probably right across the street. Maverick's just sitting there watching. So then we go to the montage where this is the one when he's training, when Styles is holding the bag and just getting knocked over the whole time. And the song that's playing, I hope this is the song. This is the one that you didn't like. Okay.
Yes.
Who do you want to be today?
Oh.
Who do you want to be?
And there wasn't much lyrics to it. They basically said that
over and over again.
Yeah, it was. 80s are known for their music. The movies in the 80s have the best montages
ever. Yeah,
all the time. That song was horrible. They could have picked something else. It just. I hated it.
They could have played "Let's Hear It for the Boys," and that fight montage would have been so much better. But yeah, that montage is so terrible.
And like I said, why does he have to train? He's already, he already has all the skill. He's not going to learn anything more. I mean, it was just so stupid.
No, and then another thing again. So Todd, obviously, he won 3-4 matches. I don't know where we're at in time right now. But how about the blonde teacher who has the nerdy glass that gives him the paper and he's like this? And he has an A+. And she does the, I don't want to do it because it's kind of creepy, but she does the tongue on teeth wipe thing. And I'm like, is he fucking everyone? That's what
I think he was.
He probably was the whole time. But again, so this is where John Astin, he goes, and I wrote down, we didn't hear Todd speak for 20 minutes. I'm not even kidding. It was just montages, fights, and
music video.
Words. Yeah, music video. So this is where he's sitting in the office and he's petting the dog, which is kind of upsetting, the dean in a way, because he's like, that dog doesn't like anyone. So he's petting him and he goes, and he throws him the keys.
Do you think that he had sex with the dog? I mean, because the dog was pretty, angry at him, at everybody, and now he's like his best friend, and everybody wanted him, and they are both dogs.
That's the true love story.
That I'm just saying,
That's why it's PG-13. No, but he doesn't even say
I know,
give me the car. He just goes. He did the little fingers.
As Styles said, he became a jerk.
He did become a jerk. And
that's
the plates, they just knew that they knew in advance that he was going to be a wolf, that both plates are vanity plates that say wolf 2.
Yeah. Yeah. They love to throw in that too, the TOO.
Oh, I know.
All through the movie. I mean, between the plates, between the door. I mean, yeah. You didn't even get to did we get to the frog fight yet?
No, we didn't. No, that's a little bit later.
Okay.
So then he's like, again, I think already Styles, I think we jumped ahead a little bit with the whole him getting locked out, but this is where he leaves Chubbs. Chubbs is smoking a cigar and he's feeling so cool. And he goes, Chubbs, you can get out for a second? And then the girls hop in and then he leaves Chubbs. And Chubbs is sitting there.
Well, the best part of that is Chubbs gets out because he thinks he's included with the two girls. So he's like, yeah, he's opening the door for them. He's getting excited. He leaves them right there.
And then after that, a few minutes later, I think even after we see I think it's even after the whole Styles gets home and locked out, and then they cut back and Chubbs is sitting on the curb. And then, then they're both
Well, don't forget that he also tried to run over a guy on a bike.
He did, yeah.
I think Michael J. Fox in the first one, he became cool and he went with it a little bit, but he was never too cocky, he wasn't a dick. Like Jason Bateman is a dick. Like in this movie, he really is he's such a jerk in this movie that I think that's part of, again, he didn't have the charisma that Michael J. Fox, he's douchey.
He was a douche. So we're pretty close to the frog scene, but one thing before that. So this is when Chubbs and
okay.
So
this is the fart scene.
Yeah, this is the fart scene. So he is sitting in his room and he's eating, and he says, "I made a monster. I created a monster." Styles. But did you notice the fridge that he had next to him? It was like a fridge inside of a delicatessen. It was an open glass, ginormous fridge for all of Chubbs' food.
He's playing the fat guy role, but he's not that fat in this movie.
No,
he was way fatter in the first one. Yeah.
Like that a few years before.
Yeah. He was was he called Chubbs in the first movie too?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, he was Francis and Pee Wee Herman.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right. So he was much fatter in there. He was much fat. Like here, it looks like he lost a lot of weight since then, and they're trying to make him he's not really that fat. I mean, he's big boned and he's a little large and he's a little blob, but he's not, but he's really not that fat. And I guess they were just trying, he really, honestly, he served no purpose in this movie at all. He really didn't. They could have done the movie without, I just feel like they want to throw it out because all the other faces were different of the same characters, and they just wanted to show the same, at least a familiar face. And I think that's the only reason why he's there. But what purpose did Chubbs serve?
I guess the only thing was, it was the same thing as the first one. He was on the team and he felt slighted. So maybe they needed a friend to feel slighted. I don't know.
Yeah, but how stupid this Chubbs got to be that he's going to go through the same exact thing he knew was going to happen. You could use any fat guy. I'm just saying, All right. Anyway.
Mark Holt, we love you if you're listening to this. So this is the scene. So this is this kind of whole scene, this next 5 minutes, the frog scene and afterwards, it's very confusing. So Todd sits down and he doesn't know how to dissect the frog. Doesn't even know how to start, which makes no sense. You just cut it.
You know what? He knew the slides on the microscope the first day when he was showing her how to do it. So he's obviously very smart. You're going to tell me he doesn't know how to cut open a frog? When he became dumb and when he became the wolf? I don't like that. To me, I didn't buy that. He's not. He was a really smart guy to begin with. So
goes, what are you, jealous, Nikki?
Yeah,
jealous of me. And I'm like, oh my god, dude! And then she slapped him with a frog like it was a duel and a glove. And then all hell broke loose. And I'm going to say this right now. Animals probably were harmed in that scene because there was real frogs getting thrown.
And okay, so this is a question I have. So this is a I guess a biology class, and they're dissecting frogs. Why do they have live frogs there?
And also, I don't know why, but A, that. B, where was the professor? She showed up and she's like, okay, let's, what's going on? Oh, are you frog fighting in my class? And that made
she could have stepped out and went to the ladies' room.
No, I think she had her purse. Like she had like
she wasn't there
and stuff.
So they started class without her.
I think so.
Nerds.
So maybe there was a scene with her. We'll maybe talk about it later. But yeah, dude, that was just so weird. That whole frog fight scene. The one guy putting the frog in the girl's like, shirt, and
that was the first live one. I'm like, I'm like, why there should not be a live frog there if they're doing dissections.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, unless they, again, but the dean is a nutcase, so maybe he's like, yeah, I want them to do dissections on live frogs.
Or maybe he's like, hey, the biology school, we need some dead frogs for dissection. Oh, dead frogs are going to cost you a little bit more. Don't worry, we'll kill them ourselves. We have this Todd Howard that we have to spend $15,000 on, and he needs a new car. Oh my God! And then Todd is like, again, you said he was like a dick, but he's also like, kind of like, I don't want to say like psychotic, but he had this really evil way about him when he was talking to the professor at her desk, and she's like, "You stay here," because he turned into the wolf during the frog fight. And then he went back to normal. But he's stroking like what is that, like a muskrat or something?
Yeah.
And he's stroking it while he's talking to her. He's like, you said follow your dreams, and I found mine. What fucking
He's super arrogant. He's super arrogant. And he just
college boxing. There's boxers that make money now, but not that many. It's unbelievable. He's like, yeah, screw being a vet. Now that he's actually a wolf, now he doesn't want to be a vet. He can help out wolves and he can help out so many animals, but no. It's kind of selfish of him.
That is true.
So here it is. When he goes outside and he's talking to Nikki, she goes, I miss the old Todd. And then he says kind of like a really bizarre thing. He says, I know, but the wolf allows me to do what I want. And then this is the first time he talks like that, almost like he's not the other person, but he is a dick when he's not the wolf. So maybe there's like carryover when he turns back into Todd, but he was almost talking like it was taking over his body.
Did you see Venom?
No, but it was like that.
Well, Venom is like, it's an alien that takes over
I know
Tom
who Venom
Hardy.
is. I didn't see it, yeah.
Okay, so it's an alien that takes over Tom Hardy, and Tom Hardy can talk to him through his, like, out loud, and Venom talks to him in his ear, like, kind of, and the Venom could take over his, like, you know, like, thoughts and what he does. So it's almost like, that's what I thought of right away, the same thing. I'm like, so, especially at the end, when the inner wolf was trying to get out. So I wonder if he just had, don't forget, he became a wolf much later, because Scott was in high school. Yeah. So he, you know, maybe he has more of an adult wolf in him.
Oh.
You know, because he's in college, an older wolf, and, you know, maybe there's like almost like a split personality, like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing, where they can fight each other, kind of like, you know, like don't want his, you know, his inner thoughts to come out, or inner wolf.
No, it honestly, like me, myself, and Irene, it kind of was like that. And then she goes, but what about you and me? And he's like, what about you and me? And he like leaves, and I'm like, and then the next scene again, he's cool, right? He's supposed to be cool. Mini golf? The budget was $3 million. We can do something better. Maybe a fancy dinner, and Maverick and his henchmen show up. But no, it's mini golf. And how about when the guy?
Well, I can't. I mean, see, this is so stupid. Are you going to say when he crushes the ball?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, like, you know, he's such a badass that he could squeeze a golf ball and make it dust.
But before that, to get the girls, because the girls were kind of not into Todd when he was like, this is the day, like, hey, we're going to play golf. So how about he's like, watch this, guys. And he makes the hole one, and he's like thinking in his head, like, this is going to impress the girls, like Maverick does that. And then he walks up, he crushes the ball, and he goes, you have an awful lot of hair. And then they left him.
Yeah.
But then they left him right away, and he was like, why don't you come see me in the ring? Just you. And then lots changes right there. But I did like the one guy's sweater. He looked like he was wearing a Cosby sweater.
He did.
One of his henchmen. But it's their typical white 80s bad guys. Those college, high school, they were the same person.
Well, I mean, this guy, his first fight, he had the headgear on and his sunglasses on. Right into the last second. He's such a, listen, he was a badass boxer, I guess, but he's such a tool. He really was. He was trying too hard to be too cool. This is, and again, there's so many parts of the movie I hated. I hated the music number. I hated all the montages, but this, they took such a serious turn for another 10 minutes, of him realizing his stupid ways and no one likes him. And he's got and talking to the uncle again, like we discussed before, instead of going to his parents, he goes to his uncle. And it was just they dragged it on. This is a comedy, and they dragged it. And this wasn't the type of movie that you need to have that long of a serious part.
Oh, yeah. And then just before this is when we talked about when Styles calls him a jerk. But when he's trying to be, I think this is when he realizes it, obviously with the girls dissing him and everything. When he goes back and he's moonwalking, he's like, hey, guys, what do you want to do? I got the keys. Yep. And then, you're right. So here's one thing that kind of pissed me off was, so I was thinking, obviously, Uncle Howard, when he showed up to the ring, I didn't know he was going to show up. He was just sitting there. First, I'm like, man, he's all by himself. No one's going to show up. And then he's like, hey, you called me. He's like, you came. And then they were having a conversation and he's trying to teach him a little bit. I was honestly hoping, because I thought this would have been cool, a montage with them two, right?
100%. So, what do you have instead? What's the montage you have instead of him studying?
Montage.
Yeah, right. So I said the same exact thing. I'm thinking all right, he goes, you know what? Let me teach you a few new things.
Yeah, or even earlier in the movie, exposition. Right. How about we do something like in the first one? Because again, it's the same movie. The first one, the dad went to school with the principal and they have the same thing. And then why not do the same thing? Maybe when he gets to the boxing thing, he's like, oh, Uncle Howard, that's Uncle Howard. And he's like, oh, I was a champion here for 30 years or some stupid thing. And he could have trained him. He does help him, obviously.
Listen, this is the 80s with action montages. Now, this becomes an action movie now for the rest of the movie. Okay. So how do you not do a training montage? Totally, that would make it a little better. Get a good 80s song in there, and he's showing them do some boxing. That would have been cool to see him as Jason Bateman doing boxing instead of the Wolf. But no, they do the studying montage where his hair looks like bedhead. His bedhead gets worse and worse just from studying. Yeah. That's first of all. And then, I just had a brain fart.
So when the serious part, that drag on too long, towards the end, he's like, I hurt people. He was talking like he was a drug addict. And I love the uncle. He's like, hey, go easy on yourself, Todd. You are half man. But yeah, dude.
So you know what? I just thought of it. So back to the uncle and Todd, when he goes, let me teach you a few things. He goes, so when's your next fight? He goes, tomorrow. He goes, good, plenty of time.
Yeah, I know. That was great.
And then we discussed this before. So he learned boxing. So his fight is the next day. His test is the next day. And first of all, based on the test, it's a 3-hour test, right?
Yeah.
He studied for the 3-hour test and learned better boxing, I guess, within a couple hours.
See, this is where I think, because it was the light. It looked like light was coming up. So again, they're bad at doing the time. I thought this too, but then I was like, they can't be that bad. So maybe he was overnight in the gym and it was past midnight and he said tomorrow. Cause I know the exact same thing. But the reason I say this is because he went to go see her at the library.
Yeah, but the test
was still daytime.
The test was 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
No, I know that, but Professor, her real name's Kim Darby, but the professor, when he goes and makes nice with Nikki at the
it was daytime, correct.
Remember when they run over and she's like, the latest I can do it was 12 o'clock tomorrow. And the worst part was when he says, but I have my fight. It's at 3 o'clock. And she goes, sorry, that's the best I can do. It's like, why doesn't he ask for 11 or 10? I know it's less time studying.
He was the only one in the classroom taking the test. There was no one else that she easily could have done it earlier.
Yeah. And he said he loves, again, he says,
I know.
He loves her in the library. I love the librarian when she was like, and he whoa, I'm not going to do anything this time because he freaked out the last time he was there.
No. No, and then don't they, or did it happen before, or don't they get it on
During the studying,
during the
she's
studying?
passed out.
Okay.
He continues studying.
Okay, so this is in between learning the box, like properly, study for a 3-hour test, and then so you probably like 5 minutes. Take a 5-minute break.
And again, I love that when he's wearing glasses like the mom in Golden Girls would wear, clear ass frames, and he puts them on like while he's studying, and then he wakes her up and he's like, "Gotta go do the exam now." I don't understand it. And then when he's done, how about when he's taking the test? What was that? How many questions is on there, right? It's supposed to take 3 hours. So obviously there's a lot of writing. There's a lot of intellectual kind of thing.
She knew he passed right away. The minute she handed it in, she's like, yeah, it looks like, did you pass? Or what'd she say? It was
I think he did enough to pass.
Yeah. She didn't even look at it.
She just skimmed through it real quick. Like, oh, you filled them in. It's not like she has them memorized. Come on. Jesus Christ. But so this is the psycho part about Styles was he's still mad at Todd and the Wolf. At the fight, what's he's doing? Still selling merchandise.
Well, he's got to get rid of it.
Oh, he does have to get rid of it. So I hated the part in the locker room, the pump up thing. I did like again, I'm going to fight not as the Wolf. And, the coach with the conniption that he always throws like, oh, yeah, well, that's what you want to do. And then how about when they all start singing the Hamilton song?
Oh.
And they forgot the words. I did like that. When the coach jumped in to say it. Again, the coach has been there as long as them, unless he went there as a kid.
Listen, that coach, he doesn't know anything. I mean, like, I don't know how he got the high school coaching job and then let alone get a college coaching job. So this guy, I mean, he's been clueless in both movies.
That is true. In high school, it's not like he was a coach. He
wasn't. He didn't know.
He did the crossword.
He said, well, yeah, he did a crossword and he goes, all right, you go in. Go ahead.
During the games.
During the game. Well, I mean, think about it this way. So boxing's so important to this school, to the dean. You're taking a coach who had basically a losing season every single year except for 1 year.
I know. That made absolutely no sense.
And the dean should have realized that he dealt with a wolf. Right? I mean, so like if you're hiring this guy, like you would know all about his background. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you know what they should have done? And this has been really like corny, I guess, but since the movie is about like Todd, who's a cousin of Scott, they should have the coach be the cousin of the other coach, Styles be the cousin of Styles or something. Mark Holton's character, Chubbs, the same kind of thing. But so I wrote a funny thing down, and when I was watching it, it really made me laugh. I was like, I wish the uncle was there, but with Booth. Like they were together.
If Booth showed up, that would I think his girlfriend, Todd's girlfriend, started looking more like Booth towards the end of the movie. Like if she cut her hair, she would look like Booth.
And I don't think the uncle ever knew, because when they were sitting next to when she was sitting behind him, there was nothing between them. And then later in the movie, not really a spoiler, but so when they're running to the ring, he helps her into the ring.
Yeah,
kind of creepy if they really don't know each other.
Yeah. But that you know what though, you're right though. That would have been very funny. Like just to throw a cameo of Booth in there, that would have been great.
Like them arm in arm.
Yeah.
Hey, babe. Or she's sitting there, he walks up. So here's the part. Okay. You're listening to this. This is the mind-blowing scene that I think they obviously cut things out.
This is the M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about that scene?
It's a twist. So Professor Brooks, she's given the business to the dean. Like, Todd has a future here at this school, and it's not going to be in the boxing ring.
Well, she said, no, she goes, I know what you've been doing. I know about the car. I know about, the girls, whatever. Like, she knew, like and she waited for him. Like she was standing there. The second he turned a corner, she like got right in his face.
Oh yeah. I know. And then he's like, well, what are you going to do about it?
He goes, what is this, your scare tactic or something like that? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is. And she takes a step again, still in my head. No clue. She takes that step forward and I'm like, they're staying on her face a little long. And then the eyes flare red. And I'm like, holy. So maybe it is really Todd's mom.
I'm saying it's got to be, because they don't explain that at all. I mean, but it's got to be.
At all.
Right. Now, I don't remember. Did she say anything when she had the Satan eyes? So that would have been. I wanted to hear her say like
Yeah.
like.
She would have sounded like Sigourney Weaver in Ghostbusters or something.
But then
nothing.
But then she walks away with a bushy tail.
And she turns and looks at it and looks at him. That's what
So
this is. It's really bad.
yeah. So is she a wolf or like a fox?
Oh, I don't think
So that was like a foxtail. That was a foxtail.
I know, but she doesn't look like a fox. No, I think that's like a wolf because they have like a German Shepherd like dog tail, but it's really long. And then in my head, I'm like, okay, there's no way that just female wolves have long tails and males not. And Michael J. Fox definitely did it because this is when I'm questioning everything I know about Teen Wolf movies. And I'm like, wait, Michael J. Fox didn't have that because he dribbled between the legs.
But maybe he tucked it.
Oh my God, dude.
I mean, you can't have only females having a tail. So, I mean, they had to have it somewhere.
I know. When I saw the tail, I'm like, holy shit, that whole scene.
And you know what's funny? It wasn't a small tail. It was a huge tail.
It went down to the ground.
Yeah, so the
students were like walking past and she stopped for a second. That's when she looked back.
Yeah,
I actually watched that scene like 3 times because I was like, I can't believe I don't remember this.
Yeah.
It was shocking.
Yeah.
And then here, obviously, the fight started. The gym's packed. So Chubbs is now like a boxing champ. And when he knocks the guy out, this is what I talked about. He was holding the guy like Lenny in Of Mice and Men, killing the rabbits. He was like dangling the guy, and the ref's like, put him down. And he like places him in the corner. And I wrote this down. Did this movie inspire Butterbean to box?
You know, listen, I think it inspired a lot of things because I see a lot of Clubber Lang in this part too. I mean,
yeah.
But yeah, you know what? You're right. I mean, I didn't think about that because he's basically built like Butterbean. See, now Butterbean would be like more like a blob.
Yeah. Blob. Don't say that to his face.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay.
So how about we didn't really see any other fights. And again, wouldn't it have been great since this is a team competition? And if they did like a little bit like Todd Howard has to get, it's not like wrestling, so it's not like you get points, but it's like Todd Howard has to win or something, you know?
Right.
So why did they have, that was definitely a girl, right? Michael Buffer, Dollar Store Michael Buffer.
It wasn't a girl. The high-pitched voice guy. Yeah, I don't think it was.
It looked like high cheekbones looked like a girl. But
I don't know what I don't know what, but very high voice. And yeah, I wrote that down. Like,
and why did Steve, the Maverick guy, have a last name that was like Yugoslavian that you could not pronounce? Because even the girl, a guy, okay, fine. Michael Buffer said it, and the second time, 2 times said it, different pronunciations. Kind of weird. But the thing that was weird about Dollar Store Michael Buffer was that he was taking off the robe of the ring.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it was definitely a guy.
Why? Why couldn't it have been a girl?
Because I think the professor looked more like a girl that would do that. She had a very short haircut, and she looked more like a guy. I think, first of all, again, if you're gonna have an announcer for a boxing match, you want like a deep voice. You want like something that stands out. You don't want a high pitched, And yes, that was kind of weird. But yeah, as he's taking the robes off, you can see like a little like smirk, like he was loving it, like that. Yeah. But so we were talking about that before. So okay, let's say they did have boxing in college, because I know as intramurals, but I don't know if they really had teams like that. They're not going to have the girls walking around with this.
I enjoyed it.
I get it, but
I was shocked.
Yeah, I did. Well, that's PG-13 right now. PG-13.
PG-13, baby.
You can show boobs in PG, but when it comes to PG-13, you can only you have to show the butt.
Boobs and Stripes, PG movie. Lots of boobs right in the beginning.
Stripes not.
Yeah. John Larroquette when he's spying on the girl.
Yeah. Wait, no, but Stripes is not PG.
Oh, I thought it was PG movie.
Okay, I would almost be willing to.
I thought it was one of those weird movies that was PG. That
I'm going to say, I could be wrong. I'm going to say no way.
Okay.
Because they show a little bit more than boobs. Oh yeah, in that movie.
That is true. So Todd comes. So Todd comes out, covered up. Everybody's like, yeah. Takes it off. No wolf. Lots of booze, and then Styles goes, he made such a great wolf. He was a dick. Maybe he looked
And he was
like a
mad
great
at him.
wolf.
Well, but he was also saying, well, all that money, so he wasn't saying, for him, it's just like, you know what? He just saw this money going out the window.
He's like, my plan worked all
Yeah.
along.
But this is when also he turns around into the dean and says, this is my last fight. And what did he throw at him? He gave him
the keys.
That's right, the keys. And that's when, now this is, I couldn't believe he said this. He goes, I hope he kills you.
Yes.
What? I mean, how deranged is that? The dean's saying, I hope he kills you.
Oh, that's so great. So Todd's getting his ass. I love this part when Todd's getting his ass kicked. He's getting his ass kicked pretty much the whole thing until it
The entire
changes.
fight.
So I love when Chubb sees the loose nut sitting on ringside.
Oh, that was great.
When I first saw it, I thought he was going to load it into the boxing glove. I don't know why. I thought that was the first thing. But then when he did like the slide, dude, the bell rang. And
no, that was pretty funny. So this is a long fight. This is a 10-minute fight. It's a Rocky fight. I mean, and it's Clubber Lang punching hard, knocking Rocky down for a while, and then Rocky falls to the ground. But is Todd that good that it takes him 3 rounds to knock him down, or is the other guy not a good boxer? I mean, really, it took him 3 rounds to knock him down, right? Because he doesn't go down until I think the 3rd round.
Oh no, you're right. Yeah, no, he doesn't go down.
That's the only time he went down. So you're telling me in 3 rounds he couldn't knock him down once?
That guy sucks. Todd has no experience. He doesn't.
And he was breathing heavy like Clubber Lang was. Like it's almost like Todd was like wearing him out. He was doing the Rocky. He was like, let him keep punching me. Let him, he's gonna be tired, and then I'll get up and give. And that's when what the uncle goes, give him this.
Give him the uppercut.
Like that's the special move, the uppercut.
Like, oh, why didn't I think of that? He won't expect that. That's only a boxing move. It's not like he's doing like some kind of trick move that could be a big deal.
Right.
No, just a normal uppercut.
I was expecting some kind of, when he said, I got some few moves I could show you, I thought it was going to be like a special kind of like,
I wanted something. A montage with that. So I think that would have been really cool of them. Well, I guess they couldn't train as that would be funny if they were both the wolves. Teddy bear, wolf, and
teddy bear. He is a teddy bear.
So when he gets knocked down, and again, I was not expecting this. Same thing. Because Michael J. Fox didn't do this. Scott didn't do this. He didn't. When he was at the foul line, it was all him. When he gets fouled, he makes the shot. And in this, he uses a little wolf energy to get up, and he kind of like gets up, and he gets it. But that's what's crazy. So he gets up. Still gets his ass beat. And then somehow he gets energy when he calls him a dog.
Well, he also, don't forget, he looked at, I'm going to say Adrian, because she does look a little like Adrian. And she said, I love you. And that's when he got up.
That's what it was.
It was. So like he saw the wolf eyes, like it's starting to come out, but he fought that away. But her energy of I love you, because they've only known each other for about a week, So, yeah, between that and the inner wolf.
Yeah, the guy that calls him a dog, says, fight like a man. And then he does like a he's almost on his knees, right?
He did a finisher. He did a finisher move.
Yeah, it was a Mortal Kombat uppercut, fall on the spikes kind of thing.
Yep.
Punches him 5 times, and the guy's friggin' knocked out. Like dead. He doesn't move.
3 rounds, he couldn't knock him down. He does 5 punches, and he knocks the big guy out.
Yeah.
Stupid.
And John Astin is so creepily grinning
the
whole time. And then they did the same ending. The same exact ending.
Yeah.
He's being held
except
up.
They didn't have the guy in the stands.
There was no, again, I went through so many things of watching that, and then there's all these conspiracy theories.
That one's amazing.
A girl, and she just, I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, there's one that it's supposedly a girl that just had like her. Yeah, I don't know.
You know, it's funny when he gets knocked down, and like, listen, he got his ass beat the whole fight, and then he gets up. They're all cheering like he has a chance.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I mean, like, they're like, oh, now he's like, I mean, like, I would almost like, I'd be nervous. Like, he got his ass whooped. He's going to get hurt. Like, I would be cheering. I'd be like, stay down.
Yeah.
Like,
I think Styles says this is where we throw in the proverbial towel here. So he was getting his ass beat, so that made sense. But yeah, the same thing. He's being held up by the team.
Yep.
And he gets let down. The blonde's there, and she's getting ready to kiss him. Kind of
it's
like
the same script.
Same thing.
Same script.
Heisman goes to kiss Nikki, and then how about the best part? Chubbs comes over and starts making out. He forces himself on her. She shoves him off, leaves, and then it's like this weird like bird's eye shot angle. And this is the part I was talking about kind of earlier. It was really cool. Like Uncle Howard looked at Chubbs, looked at Styles, and they hugged.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
But that was it. So there was like a lot of, again, I'm not saying, obviously it was the same script, but I think another Wolf movie, again, I don't know. I don't have the magic wand to know exactly what could have been done, but there could have been another Wolf movie. I don't know what the storyline could be. Maybe not in sports, maybe in finance, Wall Street for Wolves. Wolf of Wall Street.
You know what? Maybe applying to jobs, interviewing, or so. Or dating, getting married, and not knowing, or something. I agree. I mean, there's only so much you can do from the first movie. The first movie hit it all. So when you do the same concept in a college setting, so it's not in high school, now it's in college, but it's the same story. Like it literally is the same movie. They also didn't need. I hate to say it, they didn't need Styles. They didn't need Chubbs. They could have found the same, like new characters do the same exact thing. I just think like, if you're going to use the same script, you're going to use the same character. And then the fact that you don't even use the same actors, like that just like, to me, it's like, it makes it cheesy by not even using the same actors. Because obviously they didn't want to be in it.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I think because Jerry Levine, if you look at his IMDb, because I was like fascinated by that. Like after I talked to Stuart and he was like, I didn't know why. And I still really don't know why. But if you look at his IMDb, he was in, I don't know. He was in a big Tom Cruise movie like around that time, just before, right after Teen Wolf came out. And then afterwards, he was probably like, I don't want to do the second one again. But he was in some big movies. If you look at
but still though, like, okay, so, but now, I don't know. I think the title's clever, Teen Wolf 2, but I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I saw this movie so long ago. I remember liking it as a kid just because, as a child, I think you're going to like it, especially if you like the first one. But watching it now, how many years later, it wasn't good. I think it's 7. I think it was 7% on Rotten Tomatoes. And just to give you an idea, I think Son of the Mask was 5%.
Wow.
And I think Caddyshack 2 is 6%. So this movie's in the company.
That's like the Mount like shit more of movies that we covered.
It really is. And I'm a Jason Bateman fan. I mean, especially now, I think he's awesome. Yeah. He's so good. So this, there's a lot of big names in this movie. So, I'm not taking away from them, but just I think the writers got lazy and just.
That's probably what they did. They probably mailed it in. They probably didn't use the same writers.
They were trying. You know what they did? They pulled the Styles. They're like, you know what? Let's milk the first movie, and who cares what it's about? We're just going to milk it because it was so hot, when it came out, and that's what they're going to do. That's what they did. They pulled the Styles. Maybe Styles wrote the movie.
Maybe they were like, all right, we want to fund this movie, but we need a script tomorrow. And he's like, he just wrote like TOO on the script. But all right, I don't think there's much we could have done. Doesn't sound like you recommend it. I wouldn't say there's some scenes maybe on YouTube you just want to just for laughing because they're not good, they're bad. The Frisbee scene, because you'll probably think like, holy shit, Jason Bateman, Ozarks, Arrested Development, he is catching a Frisbee in his teeth.
Just for the montages alone, way too many montages. And they're long and just, and again, even the fight scene, it wasn't even like, it was a long like boxing match and it wasn't a good boxing match. It's like being forced to watch two bad boxers fight for 3 rounds. That's what it was. And it was just, so like the scenes were too long and it just, I don't know. No, I would not recommend it.
Okay. So I'm kind of in the same boat. So that is it for Teen Wolf 2. Now, the next movie we're covering is one that, man, I loved as a kid. It was one of those movies I feel like that was on UPN a lot or USA just over and over again. And we just, like, me and my buddies loved it. And that is Best of the Best Part 2, starring Eric Roberts. And I can't believe I'm saying this. I never thought when we started this podcast that we would be able to say this, but Eric Roberts will be our guest. I will be interviewing Eric Roberts. You know him. He was nominated for so many Academy Awards. He has the most IMDb credits out there, over like 526. Pope at Greenwich Village, Runaway Train. Dude, and then the guy reinvents himself because there was all those years he was like, in the 80s, drama. He was like those drama movies. And then he switches action. He's like a bunch of action movies. And then you don't see him for a while. Great in Batman. He was great in the new Batman series. He was so good as the henchman. And now he like crushes it in all these Lifetime movies. He was in a Lifetime movie called Stalked by My Doctor. In it, Crystal Allen was in that Anaconda 3.
He's that actor that, first of all, you see him, like he's in so many movies. He's got that face you totally, like when you see him. I can't wait to watch the Best of the Best. I've never seen them. I'm going into like new territory here. So I'm super excited to review that one.
Yes. And Chris Penn is a karate fighter. But yeah, so that's it. Eric Roberts, stay tuned. That's next week. And then we'll have Andrew Powers back, our Charles Bronson expert. Maybe he'll don the Charles Bronson chest for this one. I don't know. But yeah, so don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast. Follow us on all social media at Sequels Only. Check out our website at sequelsonly.com. Good night.
Good night.